Eric, my guy, what's up?
How's it going, sir?
You were making me kill all this time and started getting nervous.
I know. Hopefully there isn't a lag. I know Instagram Live is a tough thing. My phone is not the most up-to-date phone, but I promise that if I log out by accident, I will join as
You're
fast as
trying
I
to
can.
tell me that Warner Brothers couldn't give you an up-to-date phone. What's up with that?
That's right. I mean, I'm still on Bell Mobility. I still got my Kyocera flip phone from Canada. So
I can't imagine what your phone bills are like if you're still on Bell Mobility. How are the roaming charges?
it's been crazy, all through Zoom. So luckily, if anything, it's just the bandwidth that I'm taking up with like a lot of these interviews. But a lot of
Right.
the press, like people like you, have been just reaching out like through direct message. I don't have a PR manager or an agent for this stuff, so it's been kind of a wild ride, and I appreciate all the love and attention that I've been getting from not just Toronto, but now places like Edmonton, Vancouver. It's been all across Canada. So to all the Canadians watching and, that have supported and are listening, I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. I really do.
It feels like you just put a job posting. So if anyone's looking for a PR job, Eric is looking right now.
I would like to hire you as my campaign manager for the next at least few months. That would be great.
Listen, if it means that I got to move to sunny California, I will not think twice because we're expecting a polar vortex here soon, and I'm not ready for that.
My God, these are things about Toronto that I do not miss.
Right.
I forgot how to use a shovel.
I'm sure it's been a long time. You know, it's weird because you said you've been getting all these calls from whether it's Vancouver, Saskatchewan, all this. It's like you never left Canada.
Honestly, it's kind of like the best Christmas gift I could ever get. Not having spent the holidays in Toronto, like the first time ever. It was like this past winter was the very, very first time ever that I was not in the same room as my parents on December 25th. And I think that goes for a lot of people that are even in Canada, safety precautions and stuff. I heard you guys just were put on some kind of lockdown, and you guys are, I mean, like with us, we were doing that months ago. So we're trying our best to do everything we can to stay safe. It's hard not being with your family for the holidays. Some people make it happen and do it in a safe way, and others are just taking all the precautions they can right now. So
absolutely.
And making cartoons, is a good distraction. And if I can say, "Man, what's up, Doc?" and get people smiling, then that's all that matters to me.
You just did it. You just did it to this 30-year-old kid. So I really, really, really appreciate that. So Eric, again, I want to thank you so much because you've been on this media blitz since that announcement in December, and I know that you actually knew since 2018. But I appreciate you taking the time. And again, I won't take too much of it. Now, I don't know if you were able to watch my interview with Russell Peters, but and that's just me plugging the fact that I got to talk to Russell Peters.
Dude, Russell, I remember the very first time, there were two occasions where I was here in LA, living in LA, and I saw Russell. I saw Russell once at the shopping mall with his fam, and I just kind of gave him the nod. I was probably wearing all of my Raptors gear. And then I saw him pulling up into a very extravagant sports car to the improv on Melrose to do a set. And I was so, having watched all of his specials, having watched every CBC special that he's done, all of his at that time, I was like just such a proud Canadian. I was like, oh my God, like people were laughing, people knew who he was, but I felt like I had like, I had like a special connection or bond just being from Toronto, seeing an icon.
Right.
Really,
that's where you got to carry your Canadian passport around. Be like, listen, I'm one of you.
Yeah, exactly.
So with Russell, we did this speed round. All right. So I have some questions for you. So we're just going to rifle through these quick ones. So I'm going to put you on the hot seat. So I hope you're ready for this. All right.
Do it.
All right. So besides friends and family, what do you miss about the GTA?
I've said it before, Swiss LA, that quarter chicken dinner. A lot of people would disagree. People are like, are you a senior citizen now? I'm like, yeah, I must have the digestive system of an old person. But nothing beats you know, some of the Canadian staples. Did you know like the barbecue sauce at McDonald's is different than the barbecue sauce at McDonald's here? It's a
No,
strange thing.
like I know the
I'm
menus are
gonna bring
different.
some back. We'll do a blind taste test.
Right. That must be the same reason they don't have ketchup chips down there. And you can't forget to mention the chalet sauce, right? You can't have that chicken without the
But
chalet sauce.
on a yeah, that's true. On a serious note, though, I mean, like, you know, the multiculturalism and just feeling safe. You know, there's been some pretty turbulent times politically here in like the last year. I mean, we're almost coming up on a year on COVID-19, like in March, if you want to just say that March was the time. Because when Looney Tunes cartoons premiered, that's when all the COVID news kind of broke.
Right.
So, like, people were excited about the show, but, you know, Filipino kid from Canada voicing Bugs was not in the headlines.
I don't think anybody had that on their bingo card.
No, not at all. But now it seems like everyone wants to talk about that. Anything but COVID, anything. You know, these Canadian voice actors, they're coming here and they're taking our jobs. You know, we got to get rid of these guys. You know, they're very polite, I assume. But, you know, nothing but COVID and Trump. Like, people are sick of hearing those headlines. So, again, if I can bust out into some
Daffy Duck for you guys and make you laugh. I see a lot of hearts going. I assume that's for Daffy.
you know, that's my job here. That's what I, as a Canadian, that's what I'm here to do, is spread joy.
Absolutely. No, you definitely do that. All right. So which bus station, I don't know if you took a lot of buses in your time here, has the best patty?
Well, I mean, it's Warden Station. That's the number one. I you know, it was funny because that was part of one of the interviews, and then only a few weeks ago, there's a candle maker, that Warden Station beef patties. They created a candle.
Yes. Yeah.
If that's real or a joke, but if it's real, please send me one, because I will light that every time I'm homesick.
Listen, I was going to say a lot of small businesses and restaurants follow us, so I hope somebody picked up on that in the comment section there.
I mean, if you're driving down Progress there's Dad's Cookies, but then there's also Patty King. I think that's still there in Scarborough on the way to Scarborough Town Center. Yeah, they have like so many different hot spots for Jamaican beef patties in Toronto. But Warden Station, that was the one and only. That was you know, mild beef patty on a cocoa bun with some Canada Dry.
It's lunchtime over here now. You're making me salivate, so I appreciate that. You are an alumni of Cardinal Newman Catholic High School, now known as St. John Henry Newman. Yes. Were you pre-uniform or post-uniform?
Oh, I was like, I was in a school uniform, co-ed school uniform. So it was navy blue dress pants, you know, golf shirt. And I used to wear Dennis Rodman's. I used to have the I used to have the Shake and Destructs, the ones that lace up the side.
Yeah.
They had 2 or 3 Rodmans, I think, out at the time. But the Dennis Rodman shoes were my favorites growing up in high school. And and then the Penny Hardaways, the Olympic ones.
So I wanted to plug something. I was gonna get this later, but I gotta do it now that we're talking about shoes. Now, I'm sure you talk to a lot of people and they tell you that they love Bugs Bunny. Like, they have to say that they love Bugs Bunny and Looney Tunes. But I wanted to show you how much I actually love Bugs, all right? So
okay.
I'm a big Jordan guy, all right? So I have a lot of Jordans, and I got the retro 6s, but I didn't get the any retro 6s. I got the hairs.
You got
all right?
Nice.
So I'm talking to Bugs with the little carrot there as well.
Those are like perhaps some of the comfiest shoes I've ever had. I think they released the retro 8s in the same colorway. So this is it for me. I'll show you what I have here. This is part of my animation cell collection.
Oh no, that's crazy. That's so sick.
So this is before Space Jam. This was an animation. This is a real animation cell from the 90s for the original Jordan Bugs Bunny campaign. I'm sure I've dipped into my son's college fund buying all of these animation stuff, but that's what sparked it. There were 2 Super Bowl commercials before the Space Jam movie. You should look them up on YouTube. One of them is Aaron Hair Jordan, and then there was the one with Marvin the Martian and Bugs Bunny and Michael Jordan.
That's amazing. I'm glad we were able to work on that.
A little geek out session there for you guys.
I was gonna say, I'm sure, I'm sure some LeBrons are probably headed your way in the near future too, eh?
Well, I mean,
I can neither confirm or deny my presence in that film because the Warner Brothers lawyers are parked right outside my house.
Just know, again, like you're talking to a kid that used to walk down the steps at Kennedy Station, and I would see like all of the old Space Jam posters like lined up on the subway platform, the ones that were like black and red, they were like super hardcore. And you know, to know that there's a version of Space Jam coming out again, and I'm here to see it is a little surreal. Definitely
Yeah, absolutely.
surreal.
I was gonna bring up in a question later, but like you're talking to a guy that has a DVD. Like I got the DVD of Space Jam, so I had to throw that in there as well.
Well, when this one comes out on Blu-ray, I will send you a copy, sir.
Oh man! Hey, Russell made some promises to me. I'm gonna be holding you to that too.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Did you ever take this? I had to do a deep dive on this one because this was a reader question. Did you ever take French with Madame O'Sullivan or history with Mr. D'Aquila? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Mr. D'Aquila and Madame O'Sullivan. Those are two of the like my biggest influences growing up in Cardinal Newman. They were, you know, beyond supportive of any kind of troublemaking that I was up to in high school. Also, special shout out to Miss King if she's watching. But I was the troublemaker in class. They used to put me in the front of the class so you could see what I was up to, right? However, when the teachers were in the back of the class, you couldn't see my face or what I was doing. So we had a school receptionist by the name of Miss Corey, Miss Jan Corey, and she sounded like Marge Simpson's sisters. She sounded like Patty and
Selma. Yeah.
So I used to call myself out of class pretending that I was on the PA system if the teacher was in the back of the class. So I actually have witnesses. It worked. Because all I would do is head to the vending machine and eat coffee crisp for about 30 minutes and then go back to class.
So you're telling me the kid that did impressions of people was the biggest troublemaker in class? I find that very hard to believe.
Well, yes, I have a feeling that if there's some kids watching, they can relate if you are a fellow troublemaker.
Okay, so I got to imagine if there was a Filipino power rankings, Manny Pacquiao's got to be the GOAT, right? And I got to imagine you're looking to, if you're not already in that top 10 list, who else do you think sits on that list if you were to build a power rankings?
I mean, you got to look at people like Ron Jossel, you know, another Filipino-Canadian stand-up comic, Rex Navarrete, my dad, and my brother. My son might be up there. He's half Filipino.
That's amazing.
But yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like we are an endangered species, Filipino Canadians. It's very rare, you know, to find us in the wild. But if you go to Toronto, that's where the mothership is.
Absolutely. All right. I want to know exactly, and this is great because you're wearing a Raptors hat. I want to know exactly where you were when the Raptors won the championship, and can you remember where you were?
Okay, so about the season before, you know, we came so close, but I was going out. I was going out a lot. This is like 2018, right? So I was going out often. I found this really good bar on Ventura Boulevard. I think it's owned by someone from Montreal, because they have the best poutine on the menu, and I would often go. But I think the Bucks took us out that year, and I was like, I can't go out next season. I got to break my tradition. If I keep going out, they're gonna lose. So I stayed home 2019, and they were winning. I was in my living room. My son he's 4 years old. He was crashed out on the couch, and I had to have a silent victory because they won. And I had promised him if they won, I would take him out for frozen yogurt. So if you scour back on my Instagram, you'll see us at some frozen yogurt place here in the Valley and celebrating. I wish those were one of the moments that I you know, years previous, I would often go back to Toronto to watch a lot of home games. I love going to games. And that was the season where I wasn't going home much. And it was painful to see the city sell. Where were you? Like, where were you when they were?
Dude, I'm super superstitious like you are. I stayed home and I had a couple of friends that I was with, and I remember it like it was yesterday. Like I just had to be home. And I think my biggest regret of that year is not going to the parade, because that was obviously a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Right.
Yeah.
I just wanted to meat Plant Guy. You know, the guy with the plant. I wonder where he is.
I was going to say a lot of local celebrities emerged out of that series and run. Okay, so I want you to be cautious with this one, right? Because I know you are a fan of the original, but I mean, you may or may not be involved with the new one. In a 7-game series, all right? Space Jam versus Space Jam. Are you taking the MJ version or are you taking the LeBron version?
Oh my gosh, that's a. I think it's gonna go into like quadruple overtime. We might not even. That might be the first time we ever see a draw in the NBA, because that's a tough question, man. Because like you, I grew up in the '90s. Jordan was our guy, and then we got to see people like Kobe, and we got to see people like LeBron. I mean, there is no one else really in my mind that could bring back these characters the way LeBron has. That might, I'm definitely involved in the picture. I just can't say at what capacity yet. But I have a feeling people are going to really like this version too. I know there's a lot of diehard fans, but oh my God, I have to answer this question. Right?
You're giving me the politically correct answer right now. I'm not here for it.
I'm giving you the most Canadian answer I could give. I might have to say.
You're being too polite.
I might have to say the LeBron in 7. I don't know. LeBron.
I need the comment section to blow up right now. I need the comment section to blow up.
Like we're waiting.
I'm just saying MJ had Bill Murray. Who does LeBron have?
Oh my God, that is true. I keep thinking about that. I'm like, well, see, I can't give away any spoilers.
Okay, we're done. I don't want the lawyers after you because they'll come after me too. My last one of the speed round. Is there an impression that you're really proud of or that you're working on that you're itching to try out on people and you want people to hear that haven't heard it yet?
Yeah, that's another good question, because I
did Bugs Bunny. Let's go through the voices now. The real thing, like why people are tuned in. So Bugs, he's got that "What's up, Doug?" that high-pitched nasally New York accent. And if you don't do the accent and start talking like a baby, suddenly it becomes Tweety Bird. Ooh, I thought I taught Putty Tat. And then, of course, there's Daffy Duck, which to me sounds like Richard Dreyfuss with a lift. I'm not going to be a hot meal for some shark.
And then one of my favorites is Marvin the Martian Earth Creature. Isn't that lovely? He was the first voice that I did in Looney Tunes, and I've been voicing him for about a decade now.
That's incredible.
Yeah. But as far as voices are concerned, I've been practicing my Robert Downey Jr., RDJ. No big deal. That's what the kids call me now. Peace in our time. I saw a wizard being chased by an alien fur necklace. There's Jeff Bridges. I could do a pretty decent Jeff Bridges, man. He's the dude, right?
I could have done this for 20 minutes. We should have just done this for 20 minutes.
20 minutes of you should have had a wheel and then spun the wheel and put random names on it. I would have.
You actually did that for one of your late night gigs, right? Like you had a late night show and you did one of the episodes. You went through a wheel, right?
That's right. There's a wheel of voices, and it was like a very it was a one-off a one-off talk show that I did, and it was I'm not a host like you. This is your bread and butter. I'm good at voices. That's about it. But I look at people like yourself, like the journalists and the interviewers. It's a hard thing to do, you got to honor the guest, but at the same time, kind of keep the crowd entertained.
Absolutely.
I'm doing a little sketch here because I don't know if you know, but before animation, I was before voiceover, I was working in animation as a character layout artist. So
okay, so I'll let you do the animation while I ask the next question, so we can do 2 for 1 here. Okay, so
sure.
In 2018 is when you found out the news about this, right? So you knew well before everyone else was, and just it tumbled after that, right? HBO Max announced that they're going to revive the Looney Tunes, and then obviously all this other stuff spinned off of that. I want to know, just much like the Raptors question, where exactly were you when you got, I don't know if it was a Slack message, a DM, a phone call, where were you and how did you find out the news and how did you react to it?
It was kind of like one of those like life-changing moments. I mean, you don't really ever guess or think that you're going to book just about anything in acting. You kind of go out there with the idea like there's probably a chance you're not going to book something. But when it happens, it is the happiest time or incident or miracle in your career, and to book something like Bugs is definitely something that I never thought would ever happen in my entire life. it was just like an email. Like when I got the audition, it was, you know, your jaw just drops and you're kind of.
I'm just so glad it didn't go to your junk mail. Like,
Yeah,
can you imagine?
I know, right? But you know, you're kind of just whisked away to these Saturday mornings that you spend watching, you know, the Bugs Bunny and Tweety show. You kind of have to think about what made you fall in love with these characters and kind of pour that into your performance. And when I did my audition, I actually had a bowl of carrots. So I was.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I was, and apparently I was the only one that did that. But
You know, while I was reading for Bugs Bunny, I was also chomping on carrots.
And that's kind of, I feel like, you know, that kind of weird obsession was something that kind of made me stick out. And then, like, I heard that I got it, and you know, I was just at home and immediately called my parents and immediately called my brother and just let them know, like, this is, you know, it's happened. The seventh sign of the apocalypse has come true. And you know,
what I find really cool is there's that CBC national piece that obviously is the thing that sprung this whole thing and kind of made it viral. And one of the B-roll shots was you next to that bronze trophy, not trophy, but the statue of Bugs. And I've been lucky enough that I've been on that Warner Brothers tour where you sit on the bus and go through and everything. And I'm a massive cinephile. So for me, I just got goosebumps because like a lot of this stuff is you're growing up. And for you, like this is your place of work. Like I can't imagine the level of inspiration that you go through every time you're on that campus.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're like, it's you know, I'm the seventh person to do Bugs, and I won't be the last. You know, you go in, you put on your rabbit ears, and then you do the scenes and you do the show, and then you leave, and you're just regular guy or girl after that. It's, you know, there are people like Candy Milo, who's voicing Granny on the show. Bob Bergen has been voicing Porky Pig for some time. Jeff Bergman, who was the first guy to voice Bugs, but he's still on the show as like Elmer and Sylvester. And you know, I'm pinching myself. Like I grew up watching these people, and now I'm in the room with them, and it's very surreal. I got to give a special shout out to Jana McGinn, who was the CBC producer on that segment. That was originally to push some retro kid gear.
Oh, we're gonna get to that. Don't you worry.
You're wearing one of our sweaters. Mr. Jessup, that's, you know, my anchor is Retro Kid. You know, here this is the
Here's the drawing that I did, Doc.
Oh, that's so dope. And of course,
I'll mail it to you. But
no, I would love that. I would really appreciate that.
But you know, that's basically like my anchor to Canada is this little t-shirt company I made with my high school best buddy Steve Gaskin.
So I did want to ask you about that. So we'll get right to, we'll jump questions and I'll ask you about that. You know, the last century's been about side hustles, right? And so you've plunged into this and you really wanted to pay homage, and this is kind of your love letter to retro t-shirts, styles, to the things that we grew up in the 80s and 90s. Yeah. I don't know what I'm missing, but what was the epiphany? What was the moment you're like, I really want to do this?
It was like, you know, I'm a voice actor, but I'm not going to stay young forever. So I need that, my plan B. No, it was basically just Steve and I, if you know us, we're huge fans of like graphic t-shirts. We come from the era of like, I used to buy all my cartoon t-shirts at the It Store at Fairview Mall in Toronto.
Yeah.
The It Store was a joke store, a novelty store. I don't think it exists anymore, but I was buying graphic t-shirts and cartoon t-shirts at a time where it was considered super nerdy, you know, like it was a little like, you know, kind of immature. But now you walk into a room and if you have a cool t-shirt on, it is the ultimate conversation starter. It is the ultimate, like, where did you get that shirt? You know, people of like fans that are of Mr. Jessup are gonna like ask you where you got that shirt. Or if you're like me, like walking down the street here in LA, another Canadian will see that from like a mile away and they will be like, where did you get that shirt? So we kind of wanted to hop on that, that flex and that vibe of, you know, creating our own versions of graphic t-shirts. But if you look online, everyone's doing it, right? Now it's become this phenomenon and it's become high fashion. Like you can get a Bugs Bunny shirt from anywhere between $9 to $100. And people pay, you know, because I would have all of this crap in my house even if I wasn't the voice of these characters. But
well, I think the thing I appreciate about you is, you know, in a lot of your interviews, you your outfit in a Bugs t-shirt. Like one of my favorite photos of you is in that blue Bugs Bunny. It's like the most 80s, 90s photo ever with the laser background and everything. Like it's one of my favorite t-shirts. And what I love about you is like you genuinely wanted to wear that stuff. Whereas like a kid of immigrant, my parents went to Zellers and they forced me to wear those kind of stuff. And now I regret that I don't have it because it's like worth like hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, I still have that shirt, and you're right. Like,
That's so sick.
You know, I've been vintage T-shirt shopping, and they sell shirts from the '90s for hundreds of dollars, and it's crazy.
Right.
But there's a demand for it. So we kind of thought, how are we going to stick out? How is Retro Kid going to stick out in a sea of merchants and sellers and designers? And we're like, we got to pay homage to Canada. You know, there's enough pop culture within Ontario in the 80s and 90s that we could be busy for a very long time, like trying to like talk to people, like, I don't know, people from like, we could revisit TVO again. We had a very successful run with TVO. We're just having like a restock overhaul with our CBC collection. And we are starting to branch out now beyond Canada. So we might be doing titles from like 80s movies that we all grew up watching. You know, possibly some with Jean-Claude Van Damme in it, but
oh no,
but we'll
that's
see.
sick.
You know, like we'll see. I may have teased too soon, but it's just something that, like, if it brings us back to our childhood, like, we're totally gonna pay homage to it. So, you know,
I saw this morning Steve you know, pitched the idea, like we're looking for ideas of t-shirts and stuff like that. So I have 3 and this is free of charge, all right? So I don't expect a check out of this. I just as long as you send me that photo, I'm happy, okay?
If it's good, we'll send you some stuff. We'll send you some gear.
Okay, so number 1, it's Pingu, right? The lovable penguin that no one could understand.
Pingu,
the Pingu,
yes.
right? Like I remember watching that at TVO, and I think that would be a hot seller. So that's
what
my
do you
first
think?
one.
Like a Pingu hoodie, like you put the hood on, like the beak comes down, or I don't know. What do you
listen? I'll get my people to talk here. We can talk about the creative process later.
Let's set up a meeting. Let's set up a Zoom.
Sounds good. Number 2, you guys are doing retailers, right? So you did Byway. You got to put Kmart. Kmart and Zellers have got to be the 2, right?
I think between Kmart and Zellers, maybe I don't know if anyone would wear a Zellers t-shirt. It's a tough sell, you know. We did Bargain Heralds. We did Beaver Lumber.
Beaver Lumber. Oh my God.
I want to do a Druxies t-shirt, like the hot dog guy.
Right. Radio Shack. What about Radio Shack? You got to get in that.
You know what's weird? Radio Shack jumped on. They did a Radio Shack retro shirt. It's crazy.
Oh, that's crazy.
Like they I think, I don't know, maybe they saw our stuff and thought, oh, we should totally do this before they do it. But it would be nice to, like, you know, Honest Ed, Sam the Record Man. There's so many iconic places in Toronto. We could do like a Pantages Theater one with, like, you know, Phantom of the Opera. Like, that was in Toronto for a long time. You know, I would love a Miss Saigon robe. That would be good.
My last one, and I know that you'll appreciate this one being an artist, but it's got to be Art Attack.
Oh my gosh, Art Attack. Oh my God, anything from YTV. We could do like Take Part. I don't know if you remember that. There's so many.
Rocco's Modern Life, Angry Beavers. Like, I mean, the list can go on and on with those.
I mean, we would definitely need to do some. My dream is to do some Looney Tunes Toronto Raptors gear. Like, the Raptors have been very kind. I see someone wrote Ontario Place. That's a good one.
That is a good one. That is definitely a good one.
I want to do some CNE t-shirts. But yeah, Pingu has reached the West Coast. You know,
that's sick.
There's been people in some very special people on the West Coast that know who Pingu is.
I know Pingu's come a long way since its origin stories, for sure. I'm glad that we're talking about local, because I kind of wanted, we wouldn't do this interview justice if we didn't talk about Scarborough a little bit. Obviously, growing up in Scarborough, the one question I really wanted to ask you is, you know, as a creative, I always preach like being around like-minded individuals. And I can imagine you loved cartoons, but I don't know, as a kid of an immigrant, and I know a lot of people probably didn't think, like, you know, voice impressions wouldn't be attainable. So what I wanted to ask was, you know, were you able to surround yourself with like-minded individuals who loved cartoons equally as much as you, that and it helped you motivate you? Or were you just so obsessed with this dream of yours that you just hammered away at it and it manifested into what it is today?
I mean, it's a mixture of both, you know. I feel like if there's any young voiceover artists or actors like listening, it's like, you can't take yourself out of the equation, or else that's it. You'll always wonder what if. You're going to meet some people in this industry that this is their life as well. So they're going to cheer you on if they see something in you that that might strike a chord with them. You know, I'm making fast friends with like a lot of people that are just starting, and I have nothing but support for these folks, because I remember when I was just getting started, and there were hardly a lot of people there to answer any questions that I had. So I always promised myself that if I ever met people that have the same questions about voiceover, that I would stop what I was doing. You know, if I didn't have time, I would send them my email address, and I would be sure to answer any questions that they had. Because the worst thing you could do is just wonder, like, oh gosh, you know, everyone does voices when they're kids, right? Everyone has this like, oh, I love cartoons and I like doing voices. Oh, have I ever worked with Andrea Romano? Yes, I was actually one of the last people that I was honored to work with her before she retired. She voice directed Animaniacs, Tiny Toons, Freakazoid, Batman the Animated Series, everything Warner Brothers. But going back is just, you know, I had tons of questions about how to begin and what do I need to do. And it was like I had to really just kind of do it, you know, sink or swim. Kind of had to just go in to the booth and figure things out. But when I was there, I met people like Tara Strong, Maurice LaMarche, Cree Summer. These are Canadian icons that I grew up watching. But they found out I was Canadian, and they were like, what? You know, like they find out you're Canadian and they just want to help you and they want to see you do well. And you know, it's crazy. I just feel extremely lucky. Like you talk about the luck part, just being there. You know, I don't think I took that leap, leaving Canada to come here, thinking like, what if, you know, like I you know, the chances of me doing Bugs Bunny, it's like winning the lottery. But I definitely had to be here for that.
Absolutely.
But I go back to Canada, you know, in a non-pandemic year when I was going back, the amount of production that's happening in Toronto right now is insane. Like there's so much original programming happening there that it's like, it's enough to make me wonder, can I move back?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm sure I'll bring you back one day, and I'll look forward to actually meeting you in person when it does happen. My last question, and I know we're going a little over time, so I do appreciate you hanging out here and not leaving me.
I'm a bit of a rambler.
It's all good. I'm sure if we had a podcast, this thing would go 2 hours between you and I.
I don't mind.
It's great. What I love about your job is you genuinely have a superpower. And what I mean by that is when you talk to people in these impressions, like you take them back, right? Like there's this sense of nostalgia you bring, like you throw a smile like on someone like my face when you do these impressions. I always think about this story. There's this woman that I knew that used to work at the Sky Dome when it was a Sky Dome, and they had a WWF event. I mean, now it's WWE wrestling. But she was talking to Hulk Hogan, and Hulk Hogan just looked deadbeat tired. He had bags under his eyes. And then this kid came running around the corner, and he just completely transformed into the Hulkamania that we know and see on TV. And I got to imagine for you, like, I mean, whenever someone sees you, someone wants to see an impression. So, I mean, talk about that ability to change someone's day and how you can take them back just by your voice.
Well, I'll tell you, the fastest way for me to get through U.S. Customs when I travel between Canada and the United States is, you know, they look at my passport, they see the Canadian, you know, the flag on the front, and they're like, what is your business here in the United States? I'm like, well, I work in cartoons. I work in animation. And they're like, oh, yeah, what do you
Bullshit.
do? Yeah, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, what's so important that it requires a visa for you to be here? And I'm like, well, sometimes I think I'm a rabbit, you know, and they immediately go from like putting on the rubber glove for a body cavity search to a 9-year-old kid wanting to hear voices. You know, I see people saying, do some impressions. And it's like, I'll do here. I put this together. This was like, I have to update it. It's pretty old, but it's like a family portrait of all the voices that I've done.
Oh, that's so cool.
And I won't have that with me, but I will just think about like all of the voices that I've ever done and anything that would be familiar, like Woody Woodpecker. You know, like I just have to do that laugh. The most embarrassing part though is like looking over my shoulder and seeing people like, who the hell why is Ken Jeong doing all those good voices?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's amazing that ability to kind of just bust out a voice and suddenly people just become kids again.
Right, absolutely. Like your catalog is absolutely absurd. Like even the fact that you do Fozzie Bear from the Muppet Babies, and like you taught me that Fozzie Bear has a sister. I didn't even know she had a sister named, was it Rosie?
My little sister named Rosie. Waka waka. Yeah, I mean, like Muppets. Come on, like Muppets is like everything, right? Like to our youth, and like you got to look at people like Jim Henson and Frank Oz, who created those characters. Like they worked on a show called Fraggle Rock. And that was also co-produced in Toronto. Like that was a Canadian co-production.
Yeah.
So like, you know, there's Canadians everywhere in this industry, and being from Toronto is a badge of honor that I will wear forever. And to be featured on a place like BlogTO with someone such as yourself, you know, what a guan, Doc. Someone said one time, what a guan, Doc. Of course, forever.
And water station beef patties. Hopefully they got some carrots sprinkled in.
You know.
What I love is their ability to ad lib. Like that's the thing that drives me crazy, because I can't imagine. One question, sorry, I said last question, but I guess this is from a nerd perspective. When you go in the studio to record and they give you script, do you have the ability to ad lib and change a script or add your 2 cents?
Well, yeah, this particular version of Looney Tunes cartoons is a straight, like, back to the drawing board, hearkening back to the original 1940s cartoons. So they will be referencing a lot of the original stuff. And I'm like a huge, like, fan of the original stuff. So I know what they're referencing. If there's like a joke, so I can just dial it back and bring it back to any particular episode that they want to do. Like I loved when like Bugs used to sing. There was a song. It was
what did they do on a rainy night in Rio? What did they go when there ain't no starry sky? Where did they go when they can't go for a walk? Do they stay home and talk, or do they sit and sigh?
You know, like there's like, who remembers that crap but me? Like if you're a nerd like me, then you remember. And if you're a nerd like the people making the show, it's like that's the stuff that they want to, you know, for the true fans out there. They Bauza sing a Drake song, and
you used to call me on my cell phone late night when you need my love. Call me on a cell phone.
I don't know.
That's amazing.
Ruining Drake songs.
Drake's like blasphemy.
But it's like being able to dial back and know the inside jokes that they are referencing, and then you just become that character. You know, like
people could say, "What's up, Doc?"
But beyond that, we're reading brand new lines that have never been read by anyone before.
Yeah, it's really unique, and it's really special how you're, you know, a character that you admired. Obviously, you admired Mel Blanc's the OG, the guy that created the character and the voice, and now you're able to manifest that into something new and something for this new generation. So it's like I said, you truly have a gift, and I'm so happy that a guy from Scarborough, a guy that's a Filipino descent, like I love seeing South Asians succeed, East Asian, South Asian, whatever, Asian descent succeed. So congratulations to you,
South
man.
Pacific Islanders, I think.
Yes.
They call it. I love it because in the history books you're gonna see like 6 white guys and then the kid from Up at the end of that lineup. You know, I see you're a Pixar fan, so
I am a very big Pixar fan. And I'm a Retro Kids fan too. I got the postcard right here. So
we appreciate your patronage.
Yes, absolutely. So before you go, tell folks where they can find Retro Kid and maybe something they can look forward to.
Well, you can find us at retrokid_TO, also retrokid.ca. You can find me at Bauzilla, BAUZILLA, or Z if you're an American watching. And yeah, of course, I mean, more Looney Tunes cartoons will be dropping in a week, I think, on HBO Max. But in Canada, they're airing it on Teletoon Sundays at 9 a.m. And of course, we can all hope and look forward to
Space Jam: A New Legacy, starring LeBron James. Woohoo!
That's great. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Eric. This has been such a joy. And again, we went overtime, but I think people found value in this conversation, and I know I did. And
And shout out to so many up and coming Canadian talent, like West Coast has them all. We got like David Chen, people like Shauna Haraka that are coming up. These are like brand new talent from Canada that you haven't heard of yet, but trust me, like I'm already a fossil when it comes to where I am. So in my career, so you got to look up for the up and comers, okay?
that's great. Well, when that movie comes out this summer, I'm definitely going to bug you to come back here and have a conversation. But in the meantime, best of luck to you. And next time you're up here in Canada, make sure you give us a ring.
I would love to, man. Let's go grab a quarter chicken dinner. On me. Maybe they'll come with the Toblerone or something. I don't know.
I was gonna say, if you got that Warner Brothers money, you're definitely cutting the check. So I'll take you up on that.
It's all one-sided bills, though. Trump's in charge stuff. So, yeah.
Awesome, Eric. Thanks once again, and it's been a real joy. Take care, man.
Peace.